Jay here, Stretford, Paddock, and this is the video on why Manchester United drew with Atalanta in the Champions League. One of these regular videos we're doing where after a Champions League game, my man Abdul here from Pure Ball goes through a bit of tactical analysis and looks at certain players and the part they played in United's results. How are we doing, Abdullah?
I'm all right, yeah. There's a lot to discuss after yesterday, and it was a nice ending to it with Cristiano Ronaldo goal in the end. Absolutely brilliant stuff, but it was just one of them games where I was chatting to my mate, I was watching it with him and saying, this was always going to be a difficult fixture, no matter what manager you have, no matter what sort of squad you have. Like, Atalanta away is always going to be difficult, and that's why you sort of had to see out those games against, comfortably see out those games against Villarreal and Young Boys, I think, earlier on, because Atalanta always seemed like going to be the difficult game, especially away from home. But yeah, it's so frustrating how we should be about 10 points plus now, innit? In this group, like, we should be on 10 points now. Yeah,
frustrating is the word. I mean, you look at the level of the performance by Manchester United, and it's just not what you'd expect, or not what's good enough, really, from a team that, going into this competition, the players we've got, you thought we had I'm not saying we expected to win it, but a chance, because you've got the likes of Varane, you've got Ronaldo, you've got Bruno, you've got Pogba, you've got a defence full of expensive players as well, and it was like, United in a tournament situation, like a knockout situation, like eventually the Champions League becomes, who knows what can happen. You look at some of the teams that have won it, but looking at the Atalanta game, you picked out a few players. We'll start at the back with, for me, the only player who defensively at least who could hold his head high was Eric Bailly.
Yeah, everyone else looked all over the place. I'd say Wan-Bissaka had good patches in the game going forward. In terms of build-up, he tried slipping Bruno into the area, so it's just him attempting a bit more in the final third, combined at times with Greenwood. But other than that, I think Eric Bailly just held that down at the back, and David De Gea, man, like, poor for the shot. I understand it was a mistake sort of from our defence, and no one picking up Ilicic on the edge of the box, which is just shocking. When you're looking at the game as a whole, we're going to get onto the stats with each player after Bailly as well. But I think we look at the game as a whole, like, you lose that game without Eric Bailly 100% yesterday.
Yeah, there
was moments where it's just, this is it, that the player's about to go through, and he sort of just throws in his body there and he intercepts it.
There was the one block in particular, I think,
Zapata,
yeah, where we were watching it and he came from nowhere.
Yeah,
it was like,
I thought this is a goal, this is it, and he just came flying across.
It was like he came into the shot, into the frame.
He's almost like going ahead of everyone and just throwing himself in there, and you do need that. And I do like Eric Bailly to a certain extent. My issue with Eric Bailly overall has always been he doesn't stay fit enough. And sometimes he just has a good run of form, and then he'll have some weird moments, and he just won't. He's just one of them, and you just don't understand him. But he's good. He's good to have around the squad, and when you got him, when you catch him in a good patch of form, and when the other defenders aren't really stepping up, like currently we've got with Harry Maguire, not stepping up at all, absolutely poor. Again, I've mentioned in the past, I do like Harry Maguire. I think if it was a team that dominated the ball so much, and even in a sense where you're a team that's aggressive as well, he can be good when he's got to get right into the strike, and he has the license to go through the back of them and try and win the ball and be aggressive like that. He is good, Harry Maguire, in those situations. But I think Manchester United, in terms of the structure, they have fallen apart, and that's actually hindered Maguire a lot. Like, I can't completely blame it down to that. A lot of it is his personal fault. But sometimes when he's carrying the ball on the left side of the pitch, in terms of being the left centre back and approaching the final third, or even in our own area, no one's really offering the right pass. The movement in around him isn't good, and we know the type of player he is. So a lot of the time he just ends up over carrying it, and it is his fault sometimes. But yesterday there was a moment where he was down the bottom corner of the pitch towards the end of the game, and just carrying it, and no one's offering him left, no one's offering him right. The structure of Manchester United defensively is poor. Offensively, again, we've still got problems. But yeah, in terms of just staying on the point with Eric Bailly, I think he's got to stay in the team after that performance, and he is going to stay in the team because of the injuries. Victor Lindelof, supposedly, I don't know how legit it is, but with like Swedish doctor, I don't know why he's come out and speak about it, but maybe they've been in contact. He's saying that the injury isn't too bad. He could be back. That would be great, because I think Victor Lindelof has been in good form, in my opinion, recently. Yeah. But yeah, it's overall, I'd say going into the City game with Eric Bailly playing and looking like he's coming into good form. Like that, one of those runs he's about to put up, another one of those runs where he goes on a few good games. You're like, wow, what a player sort of thing. He does it every season before he catches his eventual injury. Hopefully it doesn't happen this time, but he's going into the City game. What's big though for Manchester United is how we use Bailly in that City game. We've seen the back three yesterday. I want to highlight Manchester United's defence, because the back three, for me, when you make that change, when Varane comes off, you've got to stick to what you've got the players to buy into for this period. You've been coaching them into this system. You've been trying to change things up. And I know we went a goal down, but I actually think structurally we looked a lot better. Players were receiving the ball better in the final third. I know we scored both our goals without that system. I just felt like we looked, there was even the way, there was patches in the first half where I was like, this is not too bad. Second half was all over the shop. And it started from the back. And I think I would have gone Luke Shaw left centre-back, and I would have played Alex Tellers and kept the structure. Because if you're trying to build something and you're getting the players to buy into something that you're building, you've got to believe in it. You've got to trust the system that you're building. You can't just revert straight back to what's not working, what's clearly not worked.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that because, you know, we'll move on to Bruno Fernandes actually, because it highlights sort of the next point I want to talk about, and that's players receiving the ball sort of in between the lines or offering to receive the ball. And Manchester United just simply don't have enough of that. And I felt when Eddie Cavani and Mason Greenwood come on, I thought those were poor substitutions. Mason Greenwood, yes, okay, you had to do that because you didn't want to go with a back three anymore, even though I think you got to build on what you're trying to build on. But when you bring Mason Greenwood on, then you bring Eddie Cavani on, playing him some sort of weird left wing role. One time he's at number 10, one time I'm seeing him at right wing back. His man's just flying everywhere across the pitch. Like, what are we trying to do with him?
Yeah.
And it felt like just the same old problems. It's just like tap, 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 you're through. Because Mason Greenwood at right wing, I don't blame him. He's a striker and positionally he just doesn't understand it so well there. But everything gets knocked about him too easily. And it seems to be a main issue for us defensively, actually getting played through Mason Greenwood. People aren't noticing it. And it's a big, big problem for Manchester United. Same thing with Edinson Cavani. It's like a command and there was no plan. No. Everyone was just scattered across the pitch, and it went back to that sort of 4-2-4 shape where you got Bruno up there, and we know Bruno does come, like we can see that he's created 4 chances in the game. Brilliant.
So you look, just seeing Bruno's stats there, you can see it on your screen. You've got 5 long passes, 4 chances created, 4 ball recoveries and 1 assist. The big stat there is the assist, and the fact he's created 4 chances. The assist obviously being, was it the back heel there for Ronaldo's first goal? I mean, they're the type of numbers you get from Bruno. You get chances, don't you? You get, even when, in all honesty, I don't think it was one of Bruno's better games. I think, you know, by his standards, it wasn't. Yet he still created 4 chances, which is obviously a
That's what
return.
It does, isn't it? Because for me, this team needs to be built around the players that are going to look 2-3 years down the line, that are going to be key members of the team, that you know are going to be the next, like, you know, to try and challenge for United, to take them to that next level, even when Oli moves on or whatever. And Bruno is one of those players. You got your Rashfords, you got your Bruno. So he is that player that provides those moments, but everyone's got to step up around him, man. And it goes to the point I was making. Bruno Fernandes is the only player that's sort of in there that wanted to receive in between the lines. I think Marcus Rashford gives you that as well. He can drop into that half space and then offer the ball and ask for the ball, and he was doing that with Luke Shaw a bit in the first half. Because even though it's a front 2 and we're playing the back 3, one of the players always goes wide. We've seen that with Ronaldo against Spurs, didn't we? Like, he was going out to the touchline at times. And that left Bruno space on the right side to sort of be the creator. So it was almost like a 2 behind Ronaldo. We're sort of seeing something similar with the way Tuchel and Chelsea play, you know, with Mason Mount and then the 2 forwards, whether it's Havertz, Werner, or whatever last season. So similar in that sense. The issue that I've got is once you take Marcus Rashford out, you lose a bit of that. I know he doesn't offer you that massively because he's got different parts of his game, but you lose that. And then Bruno Fernandes, a lot of the time, turns into that sort of second striker. And I get that because he wants to offer that ball over the top that where Pogba sometimes finds him and stuff. And obviously, Pogba ended up coming off. He had a poor game. Or anyone find him from midfield. And once you've only got one player that's going to drop in to offer to receive the ball, which is Bruno Fernandes, but doesn't do it quite enough to be the complete creative master. And we don't allow him enough because if he's the only guy that's coming to offer the ball, Atalanta are just going to easily man-mark him out of that game. And I felt the changes of Donny van de Beek and Sancho were the correct changes. They just come on in the last few minutes. I think we gained a lot more control within that few minutes of the game, as well as created a lot more chances. It was only like 3, 4, 5 minutes because the ball was going out here and there. We scored and whatever. But from what we've seen, Jadon Sancho picks up the ball really well, drives with it, plays it out onto the left. Donny then drags it, pulls it back into Mason Greenwood. And then Ronaldo obviously has that goal. But as well as that, we did see Sancho and Donny create something.
Donny had a shot, didn't he? I think.
He did, yeah. And it's just about those players that are going to offer to receive in those areas. And you can't just throw your Cavani's, Greenwood's, Ronaldo's on with Bruno already. Because no one there is going to do that. Like, you need 2-3 players that do that. The best teams in Europe play like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I was watching some of Bayern Munich back, and even though they had pretty much 3 wide players behind Lewandowski last night, they were all offering in those areas because they've been coached into that. And you either coach it into these players, and there's clear limitations in our coaching and how we're getting trained and whatnot.
Yeah.
Or you play your players that are going to offer the ball there. And I think with Paul Pogba's form, and the man's basically leaving next summer. We've all been predicting like he'll probably go next summer. But the latest reports we sort of hear, he's not really going to sign a contract. So why don't you play Donny van de Beek instead of him from the get-go? Because he's offering a lot, and I love Paul Pogba. I think he's a fantastic player, but he's too much of a headache in this team. And receiving from deep, losing the ball before Baye made that block that we spoke about earlier, he can't receive in that area unless you play Bruno and Pogba as eights and with a proper defensive midfielder, which should have to be Matic because you need more of a controller rather than a McTominay or a Fred. He's not going to offer you much Paul Pogba, and especially if his heart's not in it. We've seen how that can affect players. Unless you're the very, very best, where, you know, we talk about Ronaldo when he was at his end of his first time at United. He was sort of, the indication was he was going to leave, wasn't it, to Madrid. He still continued to be top of his game. Majority of the times, players do fall off. It gets there. Jadon Sancho last season at Borussia Dortmund had a bit of a bad patch as well.
Yeah, towards the beginning of the season, I think
it took him
a while to get going.
And then he got going, and his mental shows his mental state and how much he wants to fight for his place. And yesterday, you know, just staying on Jadon Sancho, like, he really come on. And for me, he looked like to get on the ball. He wanted to get involved. Like, he didn't really shy away. And for such a young player that's been struggling in terms of getting the minutes and stuff, even when he's proved at times that he's starting to get his feet together. We've seen some moments against Leicester City, and he's not really getting the trust of the manager. You know, he come on and done his thing, and the same thing with Donny van de Beek. And I think those two, I can't see us get through this patch with Ollie, honestly, because of the stubbornness. I think if Ollie if he would have stuck to the back three and said, all right, this is the style and the system we're going with, we're building on it, and then rotated maybe if I'm going into the second half. And I said this before the game, I would have put on Eddie Cavani and Sancho as the front two for Ronaldo and Marcus Rashford if we were ahead. If you're building something like that, you then giving your minutes to your Sancho a bit more. You bring in Donny in that Pogba role yesterday where he played 8. Then you have more control of the squad and you're getting more productivity out of it. So it is a problem for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer right now. I think it's going to cost him his job down the line unless, you know, again, stop playing your favourites in situations that clearly aren't going to work, that are hurting the team. We're getting played through too easily, man. But I don't want it completely to be a negative because, like we're talking about Bruno here, fantastic performance again in terms of productivity. Obviously, his overall game, he didn't really do much.
Yeah.
But I thought Atalanta actually locked him up quite a bit in the second half. They sort of focused on stopping Bruno Fernandes. We need to start getting others involved, and we need other players that want to get on the ball and receive and create. You can't just put 3-4 strikers on the pitch at the same time. It's poor.
No, 100%. And I think, you know, he's got that trait, Bruno Fernandes, that even if you think, he's not having a great game, he'll produce something. He'll get you. He'll be effective. We saw it against Atalanta in the home leg, call it that, where, you know, we've created 9 chances, and yet some people were saying he didn't even play that well. Moving on finally to one of the players that you've highlighted. I mean, come on, this is, you know, you've stuck your neck out here, haven't you, son? Picking out this one. I don't know how you managed it. No, obviously, there's only one man you can talk about to round it off. Cristiano Ronaldo pops up again. It's that man, that boy Ronaldo. 2 goals, 2 chances created, 4 shots, and 3 of them on target. And his XG, if you're into all that, is 0.57. Talk me through those stats and explain it to a little layman like me. His XG there, for example, 0.57. Is that saying that, you know, he shouldn't have got the goals he got, really?
No, it's obviously he got 2 goals eventually, but he still had decent, like, sort of half chances. It's because you create, when you're at your best, you create when you're one of the best, you create those half chances for yourself, and that's the volley. And obviously, expected goals for that exact shot, I've not seen it, but it wouldn't have been too high.
No.
But mate, he's playing brilliantly right now. He's honestly the best thing about Cristiano Ronaldo right now, and this is something that I noticed a lot at Juventus, because a few people might have not watched him there, and everyone locks into the Serie A as much, but there was periods where Juve weren't really creating it, and I said this, by the way, before, like on here, when we signed him, is there were periods where Juve didn't seem to create anything. They were playing this sort of horrible 4-4-2 in a way under Pirlo, where they had one of DMs out wide, a bit like a Simeone type system. There was no real creator. There was no real pace around him. It was just Chiesa a lot of the time. Dybala was injured for parts of the season. Couldn't really fit him in. He seemed to just create moments for himself because that's what the best do. And he sort of started to adjust to United's limitations and started creating opportunities for himself. And we've seen that with the goal, getting involved in a build-up. And even his creativity, I mean, he's still getting involved. He's still, you finding Bruno, finding Marcus Rashford, finding players in and around him. And he's looked like, over the past couple of weeks, he's looked one of the best players in Europe if you're just going over the last 2 games. He's a complete world-class player, still at 36. And again, it rubbishes anyone who says Ronaldo this, Ronaldo that. He's a problem. No, he isn't a problem. Because I actually think, even if you're talking about the pressing side of things, there are times you'd you want him to put more pressure on the defence and stuff. But I think when the structure is set and there's a game plan, it makes pressing a lot easier for players. And I think Ronaldo's willing to work hard. We've seen him yesterday drop deep one time actually and try and recover the ball and win the ball back. And we've seen it last time at Atalanta in the Champions League at Old Trafford, sprinting all the way back to the left side. So Manchester United's biggest issue right now is they're not finding ways to create for Ronaldo. He's finding them for himself.
Wow, okay.
Whether it's a brilliant piece of play from Bruno Fernandes, like we've seen at Spurs, or he himself creating a chance for Eddie Cavani to go through on goal against Spurs and score that goal. A lot of the time, it's just making the elite movement in between the lines. Manchester United could take it up a level with Ronaldo, especially when he's in this kind of mood and this kind of form. We should be hammering teams because you got your Rashfords, you got Sancho's, you got Greenwoods, you got Cavani, you got Ronaldo, you got Bruno Fernandes. There's players that are going to give you goals. Even if you go into that midfield, Paul Pogba, Donny van der Beek, they've had patches in their career where they've scored goals at the top level. So
100%.
Manchester United really, really need to start finding better ways to create because Wan-Bissaka, and as much as I like Luke Shaw, and I know he's had a bit of a bad start to the season, it wasn't too bad last night, aggressive at times and winning
wasn't
the ball.
Too bad. There's a ringing endorsement. Hey, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't that awful.
Yeah, a bit better than some of the other games because I think at left wing back he was actually better before he switched to being the fullback. His carrying was a bit better. He was being aggressive, but we've got to find ways to cross the ball into that area consistently because that's what he offers as well. I'm not seeing Ronaldo get any headed chances. The Atalanta game was pretty much a one-off and he scored off that chance. Manchester United need to find ways to find him in the back force, to find those balls. And Bruno Fernandes can't be the only one that's finding the plays. The fullbacks need to get involved. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, again, does have decent patches in build-up, but he needs to up his game and find some crosses from deep into Ronaldo. He's not really got the ability for that. Manchester United have got big problems if they can't up their levels like that under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. If you can't find different ways and different outlets to create, it's going to be a problem. But I just think overall, you've got to take advantage when your players are at the top of their game and this kind of mood and this kind of form, man. Ronaldo should be getting hat tricks like last night because he only had really 2 chances, didn't he? And one of them was like, only he would bag that basically.
Yeah, it was barely a half chance, really, wasn't it?
We need to be seeing real, crosses coming into the area, long balls coming from the defensive line as well. Those passes over the top. There has to be a real intent to find your number 9 and find your goal scorer. When I'm watching Ajax, for example, they have Sebastian Haller up there. He's currently the top scorer in Champions League. He's a player that didn't do so well in the Premier League. Considered, that type of Joelinton, just number 9, whatever. Like he's not really worked out for him. Just get it in the box sort of thing. But when I'm looking at Ajax, there's different ways of creating on the ground. Crosses coming into the area. Yeah, there has to be more fluidity and more ways of creating, especially when you got this much quality, man. I think Manchester United's solution under Solskjaer, if Solskjaer wants to smash it, at Manchester United right now and take us to the next level somehow and turn things around, which I don't expect him to. I'd expect to see maybe more involvement of Donny and Sancho, and trying to be, gain more control of the game to allow us to create bigger chances for the likes of Rashford, Ronaldo, and so on and so forth. But yeah, we'll see what happens the rest of the Champions League. It's still tight in this group, man. It's still tight.
It is. We're top of the group, but, only just. I don't want to be too sort of negative, but I don't want to be deluded as well and go, everything's rosy. Obviously, it isn't. We have had a couple of smash and grabs, but we're still top of the group, and that is what counts. Abdullah, thanks for all that. Some great analysis there. Where can people find you?
Pierre Ball.
Pierre Ball, good lad. Good man, that. Good bit of Mancunian.
Bit of Mancunian, but if you're not into the Mancunian stuff, then it's Pure Ball.
Pure Ball. If you're posh, hey.
If you're posh.
Yeah, if you're one of them that gets out of the bath to have a wee.
It'll be in the link in the bio, innit? Yeah. In the bio, sorry, in the description.
Bio taking over now. Right, the bio's all about Abdul and his Pure Ball, apparently. There's a link in the description.
In the description.
Go and check him out. He's doing some great stuff on there. Cheers, and you get all the analysis that we all love as well. You know where to find us, or where to find me, all over socials. Don't forget as well, if you're not doing, subscribe to Pure Ball and subscribe to this channel. We've got to 615,000 subscribers. We want to get to 700,000 by the end of the season, where who knows, maybe that'll tie in with Manchester United lifting the Champions League. What do you reckon?
That's happening, mate. Where's the final this year?
I don't know. We need to find out and get our tickets booked.
St. Petersburg or something.
Is it? Right, okay. Wherever it is.
In Russia. I'll have Russia.
Yeah? Right.
That sounds like a decent away day, that.
We'll be there anyway. Yeah.
We'll be there.
Hopefully.
Ronaldo hat-trick against City. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, we're not getting carried away with this Atalanta draw. That's been Abdullah. I've been Jay Moy. This has been Why Manchester United Drew with Atalanta. Thanks for watching.